Hi guys, in my last video I talked about what is the gut and why it's important to keep it healthy, and today we're going to talk about what are some of the foods that keep your gut healthy and help you build a better gut, and what are some of the foods that are detrimental to your gut health so you can cut out the bad stuff and add the good stuff in. So let's recap. What is the gut? The gut is your digestive system, which runs all the way from your mouth to your anus, and it helps in digesting and absorbing nutrients from your food. It also contains millions and billions of bacterial species, which play a huge role in digesting your food, keeping your mood happy, and fighting off any inflammation, infections, and disease. Now, clearly, our society is obsessed with gut health. That's not really breaking news to anybody, but let's just put it out there. Everyone is talking about gut health. Let's start with the foods that are actually bad for your gut, are causing harm to your gut, or are causing the buildup of the bad bacteria that do reside in your gut as well. Number one, processed or packaged foods. These are not food. They're simply mechanically made food-like substances that just resemble food, and we eat them all the time. They're widely available. They're so cheap. Think of anything that comes in a package or a bottle and lasts a couple years, like a bottle of sauce. It probably lasts 3 to 4 years. Even though it has an expiration date, it doesn't really go bad. So these are not food. Our body has such a hard time digesting it because it's foreign. It's not something our body knows how to digest, and this causes harm to your gut because it's putting a lot of pressure to digest something that it's not made to digest or does not know how to digest. So that's number one, processed foods. Number two is any kind of refined food, grain, or sugar. Now, the food industry takes whole grains that are actually good for you and refines them to make them cheaper, widely available, and taste better. Think of whole wheat flour. It takes whole wheat flour, refines it to white flour so it tastes better, it makes better and yummier things, and technically isn't so good for you. Again, this is a method of processing. It is processed, and it's also something that's foreign to our body. So the food industry is technically taking something that used to be healthy and making it into something that your body doesn't understand. Kind of sad, really. Number three, any kind of refined or burnt oils. I've talked about oils and what oils you should be using for cooking in a previous video, but anything that is toxic, already burned, or refined is technically really toxic to your body, and it's causing inflammation in that gut, killing off the good bacteria and causing a buildup of the bad. So the lesser good bacteria you have, you can't even fight off the inflammation that the toxic oil is creating. Number four, artificial sweeteners or sweeteners in general, like processed sweeteners. This could be high fructose corn syrup or cane sugar that has been refined to white sugar. It could also mean aspartame, which is added to all sugar-free products, right? Now, sugar creates havoc in your gut, even if it's sugar-free. Let's go back to 8th grade biology. Sugar causes an overgrowth of bacteria. Everybody knows this, but it causes the overgrowth of bad bacteria. So the more sugar and artificial sugar that your body can't process or digest, that you ingest into your body, the more difficult it's to digest, and it's creating an overgrowth of that bad bacteria, which we don't want. And finally, number five, any kind of dairy and gluten. Now, these are two things, but let's categorize them under one. Commercial dairy and gluten is very difficult to digest because, again, it's processed to a level that our body doesn't understand. Now, this needs a more in-depth explanation, so I'll probably keep it for another time. But for now, in relation to gut health, it's creating inflammation and causing a very tough time on your gut to digest it, which is not really helping it keep it healthy. From these five things, it's obvious that most of the things that we eat in our modern day diet and those that are cheaply and widely available are causing harm to your gut. They're industrially processed, have tons of added sugars and burnt oils, which are causing sickness, creating inflammation, and really creating a bad environment for that bacteria to live and thrive in. Now, what about the foods that are good for your gut? What are some of those foods that you should be eating? Number one, fiber-rich foods. So that could be any fruit or vegetable. Fiber is a prebiotic, which means that once it goes into your system, into your gut converts it to a probiotic, which is the actual good bacteria. So fiber is the food for your good bacteria to grow. It technically grows into good bacteria. So any kind of fiber, any kind of fruit, vegetable, anything that has a lot of fiber is good for your gut. Now, a lot of you who are, starting to introduce fiber into your diet very newly may notice some discomfort. So start slow, start with small amounts of fiber, and then keep adding on to a larger amount. Number two, fermented or cultured foods. So fermented or cultured foods that are naturally fermented using wild yeast in the air have developed good bacteria through that process of fermentation. So you're technically directly eating the good bacteria and feeding your system with the good stuff. Number three, nuts and seeds. In addition to providing your body with anti-inflammatory properties, nuts and seeds are also high in fiber. Number four, coconuts or foods that come from coconuts. Now, coconuts contain a specific type of fat called medium chain triglycerides, or MCT. You might have heard something called MCT oil. Now, MCTs reduce inflammation and help us fight the bad bacteria and build on to the good bacteria. In addition to that, coconuts also are very high in fiber, again feeding the good bacteria in your system. Number five, bone broth. So bone broth is technically made by boiling animal bones under slow heat for a long number of hours, which creates a mineral and nutrient-rich broth, which contains all the essential nutrients to keep your gut lining healthy and your gut bacteria in check. If you're vegetarian, you can also replicate this bone broth using shiitake mushrooms for a similar benefit on your gut. So here are the best and worst foods for your gut. Remember, these are only a starting point to building a healthier gut. There are a variety of factors that come into play, including quality of sleep, your skincare even, that affect your gut. But let's start with the basics on what you can take out from your diet and what you can add to your diet to build a healthier gut. Chances are that you'll notice a huge difference in how you feel and how you're digesting your foods. If you have any questions or if you have anything that you'd like me to talk about in more detail, just leave a comment and I will reply or make a video on it. Till then, stay healthy.